What I wanted to show you here are the three boards that go in the green plastic cases. You've got a mic board, a trap board, and a remote. The remote is got two or three different names. It can be the trigger or the scorekeeper. Canterbury calls it a remote. And if you'll notice, the reason I put the paper up there is because I'm going to turn these over. But if you notice at the top of each one of the boards, that's exactly what it says. It says mic, trap, and remote. And you can see that on two of them they have three lights available. And on the one in the center, which is the trap board, that's the one that fits on the building, there's only two lights. And that's for signal. And let's see, the other is for standby. The reason I don't, as you can see, there are the keyboards on those that I've got. The one in the center doesn't have a keyboard. The reason it doesn't is usually that trap, there's no buttons on it to push, so very seldom does that trap unit keyboard go out. So it's just one of those things I don't even stock because in 7 years I've never had anybody replace one. So now that being said, again, the reason I've got these up above is because I'm going to turn the boards over. Oh, first, before I turn the boards over, look on the left, there's a little small screwdriver. That's how you actually change the option switches on these. And I send this out with the first order of every wireless system so that the second order you'll be able to change the switches. On the first order, you don't need to change any switches. So let's turn these over and we'll get started here, and I'll show you how these dip switches work. Actually, they're rotary switches. They're not dip switches, but they're rotary. And there is one dip switch, but it's not anything. Now, I've left batteries in the one. I don't know why I did that, but I did. So here's what I wanted to show you. On the first one here, which is the mic board, you can see that there's two rotary switches. The first two says field and then lane. The two that say field are really the frequency. From the factory, all of these are set for 0 and 1. You can set these for anything you want. I've told people that typically what I would do is either set it for the second set is 2-1, which means all you'd have to do, if this is set to 0-1, then the next set, the second set that you put in, if you get another set of 5, you just turn this rotary switch with that screwdriver I showed you to a 2, and you're done. Now the lane on this for the mic board is what number or which lane. And in most cases, of course, it's going to be 1 through 5. So one of these units in the box will be set for 1, another one will be set for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Occasionally, I had one where the factory had set it and had like 2 2s or 2 3s instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's pretty simple. There's your spot for your batteries. They are polarity conscious. You can see right here the difference. It's showing the positive side, and over here it's negative. So it's 2 positives and 2 negatives on this end. Okay, move over to the other one. Same thing. The first two are the frequency, usually set to 0 and 1. In this particular case, it's set to 2-1, but it's usually 0 and 1. And then, of course, how many mics you're going to have. Now, this is a little different because this is the trap unit, the one that fits on the house. And what it's looking for is the number of mics that are out there. That can cause you grief if you've got it set for 1, which is what this is set for right now. Actually, it's set for 0, isn't it? No, it's set for 5. It's set for 5. If you had it set for 4 and you had 5 of them, it would not be able to tell that there's another mic out there. Now, there are some other dip switches, and these are dip switches. You can see that what they say is this is for your release of the trap, but you're looking at instant, Nordic, 2.5, and then the factory only, you leave that alone. So typically, all of these switches, I've never seen anybody change them. I guess they do in the field, and I don't know anything about it, but typically they're all what would be considered in the off position, which is kind of strange because the off position in this case is towards numbers, which is unusual. Most dip switches, it's the opposite way of the number, but in this particular case, they're all off. And we move over to the last one, which is the remote, which is your trigger. And all you've got is two rotary switches here. And again, that's your frequency. And so you got to make sure that if you're set at frequency 01, then you need to make sure this is 01, this one's 01, and the one over here is 01. And then, like I say, your lane numbers. And over here it wants to know how many lanes you've got. 5 lanes, 2 lanes, 1, whatever. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, you can give me a call and I'll try and define a little bit more about this. Thanks very much.